6:50, and let's circle back to where we started the show, looking at the government's migration policy. The Prime Minister's emergency legislation to declare Rwanda a safe country, whatever the Supreme Court thinks, is still missing in action. Could that be because of Rwanda itself and its government? Well, no journalist knows more about that subject than Michaela Wrong, author of a book on Rwanda called Do Not Disturb, the story of an African regime gone bad. I spoke to her a little earlier today, and I began by asking her what she thought of the Prime Minister's contention that Rwanda is indeed a safe country.
It's an extraordinary thing to say because his own Supreme Court, our own Supreme Court, doesn't agree with him. And that was a unanimous ruling. It was extremely clearly expressed. And it went into all sorts of the detail on why Rwanda is not safe. And no, I don't think it is safe.
So what kind of regime has Kagame been running since he arrived?
I think everyone in the international community welcomed the takeover of Paul Kagame's movement in 1994 because the slaughter on the streets was visible to everybody, and it meant the end of the killing, and he put in place a sort of a multi-ethnic government, and he was talking all the right language of
that all sounds excellent.
Yes, but I think what has emerged is, firstly, we didn't know quite how brutal his own Tutsi-led rebel movement had been in the years before they seized power, when they were invading the country from the north.
So would you regard the regime as it is now, Kagame's government, as a kind of democratic and normal government?
No, I don't think it is a democratic system at all. Supposedly they have multi-party elections, but the head of the opposition is under house arrest at home. She won't be able to run in any case because she spent 8 years in jail on what many feel were trumped-up charges. There's no free press. Journalists who try to criticise the government either end up dead in very weird, mysterious circumstances, or they're all in jail. There's no real human rights.
Sounds a bit Putin-esque, almost.
I think all authoritarian regimes resemble one another.
And what happens to, as it were, dissidents or opponents of the Kagame regime outside Rwanda, including in Europe?
Well, this was one of the reasons I wrote my book, and it's because there's an extraordinary campaign. I've never seen the like of it in Africa, where Rwanda reaches out across its borders into other African countries, but also here in the UK, in Belgium, in France, in America, in Canada, and it hunts down dissidents and critics, and in several high-profile cases has had them killed. Human Rights Watch has issued report after report about these assassinations, and they are also, routinely intimidating, harassing, beating up, and just making sure that community of potential critics, potential political rivals remains silent and marginalised. And they're utterly ruthless about doing it. I've never seen the like.
Because the essence of the Supreme Court judgment was about the circumstances under which people who had been sent to Rwanda might then be sent back or not to their own home countries. But it sounds to me, from what you're saying, the notion that Rwanda itself is any kind of haven or asylum is a weird one.
I think it's really weird. I think the whole idea of sending people to Rwanda in particular, I mean, put aside what you think about dealing with asylum seekers in this way, but that particular choice of country is really strange. I mean, we know that Rwanda was not even on the short list that the Foreign Office presented the Home Office with as potential destinations. I think given its own incredible track record of repression, both at home, of transnational repression, where it reaches out and tries to track people down. But there's another issue why we should be objecting to this. But basically, the Rwandans have bought our silence, the British government's silence, because at the moment, and this has been going on for quite some time, Rwanda is supporting the M23 rebel movement in Congo, which is gobbling up land and marching as we speak on one of the biggest cities in eastern Congo. It's creating huge number of displaced people who are rotting in refugee camps. And in the old days, 10 years ago, when something similar happened, Britain was amongst the countries that cut off aid and said, you've got to stop doing that because Rwanda, it was very clear Rwanda was supporting the M23. It is extremely clear, the UN has documented this in detail time and time again, so have the Americans, so have the Belgians, so have the French, that the Rwandans are supporting the M23 now. And the Brits are totally silent. I find it so extraordinary. They have gone so silent, and it's because of the Rwanda asylum deal.
So given all of this, why do you think Britain chose Rwanda?
I don't know. I know that there are people in government who are big fans of Rwanda. Andrew Mitchell, the development secretary, used to run Project Umabano, which was a charity. And I think ever since he sort of first encountered Rwanda, he's been an advocate. I mean, he sort of champions Rwanda, champions Paul Kagame. And I think that's had an effect on everyone within that circle. I mean, we know that Suella Braverman had been to Rwanda 4 times, I believe. She had gone on Project Umabano. And I think, Andrew Mitchell has taken a lot of people along with him and persuaded them that Rwanda is kind of a utopia, heaven on earth.
Michaela Wrong, thank you very much indeed. Really interesting to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.